Believe. Become. Powered by passion. Driven by determination. Believe. Become. Be strong. Be Machel Cedenio.
He is the fastest junior 400-meter runner in the world and TNT's most accomplished junior athlete ever. Still, at just 18, Machel Cedenio's track and field career has only just begun. He clocked 45.13 seconds to win gold at the IAAF World Junior Championships in Eugene, Oregon on July 24, 2014. A new national record and personal best for Machel. He reduced his time by 10 seconds in just 2 months since his previous fastest time of 45.23 during the Cayman Islands International Invitational. Cedenio booked a spot on the podium almost every time he ran and kept his grades on par at Presentation College in San Fernando. When he first competed at the Carifta Games in 2011, he dominated, taking gold in the 200-meter, 400-meter, and pulling his weight on the 4x1 and 4x400-meter relay teams, helping them to bring home silver. Since graduating from Presentation College in 2012, he moved to Orlando, Florida, where he trains with the Pure Athletics group headed by Lance Broman. At the tender age of 16, he made the TNT track team for the 2012 London Olympics, albeit as a reserve. His destiny, Rio 2016, something he has worked for all his life.
I decided to make track and field a career in 2010, That was when I made my first team for Trinidad and Tobago. Went to the Cayman Islands and we ran the 4x4 and we came first. And at that point I was like, I have some talent, I should stick to the sport. Back in primary school, running school sports, when you was young, had a lot of energy. You're taking part in everything in school, whether it's football, basketball, any sport you get a chance to be involved in, you take part in it. So this one time I run school sports and this guy named Mr. Portley who saw me and he was like, you should come join his club. The same evening after the school sport, I went training with him and he trained me up to like Form 1. Yeah, and then when I moved on to like a more senior club, that was with Quantum Athletics. When I joined Quantum, it was more a 400 structured club, so it had like a solid 400 group there, so I started working out with the 400 guys. And that is when the coach realized that I had talent in the 4, so I made the switch to the 4, and when I made my first team, it was a 4x4 I ran, so from there I realized that the 400 is my event and I just never went back to the 100. When I first started track and field, my first event was the 1 and the 2, but I never used to come first, I used to come like 4th, 5th. Then I tried the 200, I was a little better in the 200, I used to win the 200 sometimes. After Presentation College, I took a year off to focus more on track and field. After knowing that I was one of the favorites to win World Juniors, my parents and my coach made a decision, this year we'll dedicate everything to the running. Not so much where I can get sidetracked and forget about school because, we still have to remember that after running there's life. So my mom always motivated me to go to school and, this September I'll be going back to school. I'll be going to university in Central Florida. I trained with guys like Tyson Gay, Kellyanne Batiste, Keston Bledman, all these world-class athletes. Like everybody in our camp have either Olympic medal or World Champs medal. Being around these caliber athletes, it's really a good experience. When I first joined my training session, they were all cheering me on because they doing the 100 and me doing the 400, my workout was harder than theirs by far. So they motivate me to help me finish out my workouts. My training partner around the Bartholomew. Everybody there is just so humble and so uplifted and motivated. It really was a good experience for me joining the camp across there. Living alone is like a big step with no parents, no other person to guide you. So it was a bit challenging, but I pulled through. Me winning World Juniors with just probably like a month of solid work was accomplishment by itself. Shaving 10 seconds off my personal best was like just sticking to the grind and putting in the work because from that transition from Cayman to IAAF, that space I was hurt. I wasn't putting in as much work as I was supposed to. My workload was a bit low. So my coach had me doing pool work, gym. It wasn't like a solid track workout every day. So it was messing with me mentally, because it was getting so close to World Juniors and I was still feeling pain, but one day I wake up and just had no pain, and that was when I started back to train. I was like a month ago. me winning and Tobago was at the finish line and he shook my hand. I was like, welcome to the elite group of TNT athletes. And to me that meant so much to me to see my coach in the stands, all the Trinidad athletes there cheering me on. So it was a good feeling, especially going up on the podium and hearing the anthem. That's when it really hit me that I was the World Junior champion. So it was a good feeling, there. After winning World Junior, I just to come back over to Trinidad to spend time with family, friends. But I still was training like normal and everything, so didn't lose the focus, me being in Trinidad. Well, yeah, I'm close to both my parents. I have 3 sisters. Me and my 3 sisters are very close, especially my last sister, who is like 2 years older than me. Me and her is like this. My preparation right now going into Rio is just that transition from the junior level to the senior level right now. So right now I'm no longer competing as a junior. Come next year, so I'll be on the senior level, on the senior guys. So when I compete next year, I'll be competing with some of the top guys. So and most likely that'll be the same competition I'll be competing in Rio. So right now I just have to prepare and train like a more senior athlete. So I just have to stay focused and train hard and prepare mentally and physically for Rio. Giving up track and field wasn't really, it was an option for me because I always enjoy what I do. So I never really had a moment where it was like, there's enough for me, not working out the way I'm supposed to be. But anytime things went bad in track and field, I always go to my mom, I always go to God, and it always happened to be good. So the advice I have to give young athletes, to stick to whatever you're doing now and never give up. If you lost once, that's not a reason to give up. That's a reason to go forward, Even Usain Bolt, he lost a couple of races back in the past and he never made that a reason to give up. He trained harder and come back out harder. So the advice for you is just to stick to whatever you're doing and never give up.
Be Machel Cedenio. Believe. Become.